That's not the most impressive. Ask the next question.
Yeah, how much have you lost off your waist?
I think 7 inches.
So, like, everybody just think about 7 inches for a minute. Not you men out there, because your 7 inches are way different than our 7 inches.
What's going on, Nutritional Strength? I hope you guys are all enjoying your lunch. Here today we have Jessie, Kathy. Jessie's been with us for, I think, a year now.
No, I started at the end of May.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Holy
okay.
Cow, girl, your before and afters are fire.
Thanks.
Wow. I mean, I'm floored right now. I'm floored.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah, Jessie, tell us a little bit about what kind of brought you to Nutrition Build Strength.
So when I started, I was 4 months postpartum, and I had a C-section. So before that, I was really active. It was my second kid. And I was really active, in my pregnancy with Peloton and everything. I kind of just ate whatever, but, wasn't terrible. Then I had a C-section and, we had that recovery, and then I just kind of got in a funk, and I just kept on, like I wasn't eating well, and I just kept on not eating well. And, but before that, I've always been fairly active, but I'm just a big junk food person. I mean,
what's your favorite?
I love fast food. Chicken nuggets.
But what?
Are you like a McDonald's person? We're secretly McDonald's people.
I love McDonald's. I just stole a McNugget from my kid earlier today, actually.
But are you the sweet and sour or barbecue type? Those of you that are listening, put in the comments. Ranch. Are you sweet?
You like them plain?
Okay, so hold on.
No, ranch.
Ranch. Hold on. For those of you that, those of you that are watching right now, are you sweet and sour or barbecue? Drop it in the comments. Ranch, though.
Well,
do you go like what?
Sour over barbecue. I'm not a big barbecue fan.
So I have to tell you, when my girlfriends and I go on vacation, we call them ranch shovels. So that is what a chicken finger is for. It is for shoveling the ranch in.
100%. You can put ranch with anything.
100%.
Absolutely. Okay, so you're a big McDonald's person. You like fast food.
Yeah.
During your pregnancy, you worked out.
Yeah. And I've gone through, since I've been an adult, I go through phases where I'll be really good. I'm kind of a perfectionist. So I'll go hardcore, 100%, only healthy, only whole foods, working out every day. And then if I fall off though, I'm like, oh, well, it's over now. Just stay off for months, or at least that's what I was doing. I think that's the perfectionist side of me.
You have a flat tire and you decide to slash all 4 of them.
Exactly.
Wrong, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So Jessie, tell us, when you met Afton, or when you met with us, where were you at? How much, what did you weigh? You said you were 4 months.
I was at 153, and that's definitely the heaviest I've ever been, except for when I was, still pregnant.
And how tall are you?
5'5".
5'5". Okay. Just so everybody gets some perspective. Okay. So you're about 150.
Yeah.
Okay.
And before I got pregnant with my first baby, I was 138. Okay. So that was before any kids. But that wasn't probably my healthiest time. But
Jay, what were you about to ask?
I was going to say, just so everybody knows, so you now have 2 kiddos. This is after your second pregnancy that you met with Afton, and you've sort of gone on this journey. So you're 153, 5'1". How old are you, Jessie?
5'5". I'm 34.
You're how old?
34.
34. Perfect. Just so everybody kind of gets some ideas of so that they know, oh yeah, that's me too. I know what that feels like.
Right. Yeah.
So you came in, so you found us out somewhere in the Facebook wild, I'm sure.
Yes. I saw a comment from Afton on some Facebook group.
Perfect. And then from there, what made you go, you know what? Or actually, first question, had you tried anything in the past? And second question, what made you go from the comment from Afton on the Facebook group to the strategy call to now being a member multiple phases in?
Well, I'd done another program before where I'd started using macros. And I like that part of it because I'm kind of detail type person. So that works well for me, but it was just, the other program just didn't work for me. So, but I thought that I wanted to do macros again. And I liked how this was set up where it allowed me to still have stuff that I like, especially on the weekend. So
what was your success like with the other program? And then what do you see the biggest difference between what you've done in the past versus what you're doing now in terms of the two programs?
I basically had zero success on the other one, even though I was doing what I was supposed to do. I don't think my macros were ever right. And they never really talked to me about the food, you know, they didn't really adjust them based on me. I don't think it was like a very personalized kind of approach. But yeah, I hardly lost any weight on them.
And then what's the biggest difference between, you know, working with Afton? What does that look like?
Oh, I mean, really just how we tinkered around with what worked for me, because I had, you know, a couple weeks where nothing really happened, and then we just adjusted such a little amount and it just changed everything. And I don't think, you know, just some coach or something would know how to do that the way that the dietitians do.
Yeah. Now, Jessie, I'm actually going to pitch off to Jennifer for a second, because you're a mother of two. How old is your oldest?
Oh, me? 3.5.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
Ava's going to be 15 on Friday. 3.5. And how old is your youngest?
13 months.
13 months. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So Jay, really quick, what are some of being a mom, what are some of the struggles that you've experienced in the past? And then Jessie, have you experienced, when it comes to weight loss, what has it been like navigating those struggles, if you could experience the same, but with NBS and Afton in your back pocket?
Yeah. So for me, I think just to sort of start it off, you know, the biggest problems for me with having kids is fitting in what they want to have, what I want to have, having like so many different diets to have to navigate at the same time, wanting to spend time with my significant other, you know, and
Who's
like
that?
that's you. Being able to, you know, enjoy some time, like adult time, especially when they're that little, when they're like, you know, 3 and 13 months, like you are ready to talk to another adult. You're ready to have maybe a glass of wine with your husband. You're ready to go out on the weekends and actually maybe see your girlfriends, or, you know, have a date night. Those kinds of things are so important to your marriage at that point. It's not even about the kids. And just balancing all of those, you know, they are so needy, and like you come last. And so what I really love about how our dietitians put their meal plans together and work with you is that they truly, truly do try to think about what's going to fit best for you and allow you enough freedom to still have those moments with your husband, moments with kiddos, things like that. The other biggest struggle that I always had, especially when they were little like that, and you mentioned this earlier, is eating things off of their plate. So
yes, I have a terrible time
I'll grab this, and like, does it count? And the great thing about macros and calorie counting and also working with Afton, because she has little ones as well, is figuring out, okay, so I did have a chicken nugget. Can I track that? And how do I back that in and still make my day perfect? Yeah. Even if I did have a cookie, or even if I did, you know, we decided to bake chocolate chip cookies on Sunday night. Great. Okay. We'll figure it out. I think that's one of the great things about having Afton in your back pocket. So tell me a little bit about how the transition to mom and doing a diet has been.
Yeah, that's definitely, especially since I kind of just got out of it a little bit, but like the most stressful time, like having really little kids, it's just at the end of the day, I'm like, don't want to deal with anything anymore. I'm kind of like, oh, let me just reward my, you know, like just something easy and not good that makes me feel good or whatever. That kind of thing. And then definitely the eating the kid food, because my 3-year-old leaves so much food behind. And I'm like, I'm just going to throw this in the trash. So it's hard not to eat it. But this has worked great for me, because I know I can log like a chicken nugget. I can log, you know, and it's fine.
Yeah. So how much weight have you lost total so far?
20 pounds.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I think
that's not the most impressive. That's not the most impressive. Ask the next question.
Yeah. How much have you lost off your waist?
I think 7 inches.
Yeah. So like everybody just think about 7 inches for a minute. Not you men out there, because your 7 inches are way different than our 7 inches. But for the ladies out there, think about 7 inches and think about your waistline. I mean, Jessie, there must be clothes in your closet that you thought you were never going to wear.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's been such a big, like, stuff I was about to throw out.
That's awesome. I think all of us can relate to having that pair of jeans in the back of your closet. They were like, well,
but just in case one day.
The ones that were your favorite when you were in college, when you used to go out and shake your booty on the dance floor, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
This stigma around hiring an expert when it comes to your nutrition. Like we hire experts in all other realms of our life. If you want to get your hair done, you go to a salon or you go to a barber. Most people. If you're not a good gardener, you hire a gardener. If you don't know how to balance the pH in your pool, you hire a pool guy. But for some reason, when it comes to nutrition and weight loss, men more so than women, but even women, we have this idea that we're like, I'm gonna do this thing on my own. And that doesn't go very well. You tried another macro program. Yeah. And the results were not there. No. Sure, let's talk about the science, but let's get away from the science for a second, because maybe they weren't credentialed. They weren't registered dietitians. Maybe that wasn't it. They weren't. Let's talk about the non-science part of it. What is the difference that you see in your experience working with Nutrition Built Strength when it comes to the science, not when it comes to your food and your tracking? What is the difference there? Because in my opinion, that is one of the biggest differences between how we operate and any other company. And we make sure that standard is a minimum, that you get that high, concierge level of service, because we cap our registered dietitians at 50. So what is, aside from the science, what do you think has made the biggest difference for you?
I mean, definitely the support from Afton. Like with that other coach, I couldn't just, shoot him a message and be like, some random question about food. I mean, it wasn't like that. They would check in, every now and then, but it was more of a general thing. It was nothing to what we have going on here.
How long does it take for Afton to get back to you when you send her a message?
Oh, minutes, usually.
We say 24 hours, and I swear to God, Afton must have like a buzzer that like buzzes her whenever somebody sends her a message, because she is immediate.
She's always back to me all the time.
I was gonna say she's got those new AI goggles, and she just like this. She's like,
she can read it.
Jessie Cathy, messaging over.
Yeah.
The level of communication, and see, that's something I was hoping that was your experience, or that was something that you found different. There's a lot of people out there.
Felt more like I can be like not embarrassed and be like, hey, I ate this pizza and nachos and all this stuff. With the other coach, I would try to be like good even if I wasn't. So that makes
which isn't really helpful.
Exactly.
Yeah, being able to be real, like being able to be yourself. I was actually talking to my personal trainer about this today, because he's like, the people who check in with me all the time, they're the ones who are actually doing the program. But like, that's not the point. Like the point should be like, I messed up. Like I didn't do what I was supposed to do. Help me figure out how to make this work, because we're real people. We are not robots. We are not like, and he does a lot of show prep for like bodybuilders. So he's expecting like chicken and broccoli, tilapia and asparagus. Like that's what they're supposed to be eating. But the reality is, for the 98% of the rest of us, that doesn't have to be the way your life is. Your life should involve crumble cookies. Your life should involve margaritas. Your life should involve, pizza with your kiddos. It should not be this all or nothing approach to weight loss. I think we talk about the fact that you have to restrict somewhat. You cannot it's not a smorgasbord, right? But having the things that you love will make this easier. And dieting doesn't have to suck. It can be hard, but that's the good things out of life are not always easy either. But we will show you a way to make real life fit and lose 7 inches off of your waist, lose 20 pounds, get back into those jeans that you've never worn before, or you haven't worn since college or something like that.
Right.
Now, Jessie, there's this, I've said it more probably in the last 6 months on strategy calls, because, and maybe it's from previous experiences, kind of like yours, where you said, I worked with a coach in the past, and I just feel like my words and my concerns or my messages fell on deaf ears. How often? Oh, no, sorry. And what I typically tell people right now is, we guarantee a 24-hour response for a reason, because the members that communicate with their registered dietitian on almost a daily basis, even if it's hey, just checking in to let you know I feel good today, or like, hey, I'm going to this dinner or I'm going out to this restaurant tomorrow night because it's my anniversary. And it's not a cow track day, but I don't want to overindulge, but I want to enjoy it. Can I shoot you over the menu? And I tell people all the time, those are the most successful members. How often do you think on average you communicate with Afton outside of the check-ins?
I don't like deviate from my food that much, so I don't have to ask her as much, but she has helped me a bunch of times whenever I do. But I'll at least probably talk to her 3 or 4 times a week.
But that's a lot more than I think most people expect, that they're going to have a support team. Because that's not what you, like, I used to be a Weight Watcher. You don't get to talk to your Weight Watcher coach 3 or 4 times a week. You go in for a meeting with a bunch of people and you don't feel like an individual. Like, having that person, and if you needed her, she was there. And 3 or 4 times a week, that's awesome. Like, who else gets that kind of level of support?
Yeah, definitely.
Now, Jessie, your before and after pictures are just absolutely ridiculous. And if you guys haven't seen it yet, go look at I will actually post it in the comments after we post this live. Jennifer, well, I think we can probably start to wrap this up. I do want to end with one question, but Jennifer, is there anything else you want to ask Jessie?
Yeah, I do want to ask about, because I had somebody I talked to last night. They were talking about the fact that they didn't feel like they had a lot of weight to lose. They wanted to lose somewhere between 10 and 15 pounds, but they really were concentrating more on body composition. And I think that your before and after show that, yes, you lost weight, but there's a ton of body composition change.
Yeah.
So that is part of, what the phased approach that we take here at NBS, where you go through a calorie deficit, you go through a rebuild phase, that allows for a lot of that body recomposition. Can you talk about how different your body looks? Maybe not about the weight, but like how much, when you look in the mirror, do you like what you see? And do you like to put on clothes and that kind of thing?
Oh yeah, definitely. And when I started, I definitely did not like to try on clothes anymore. But yeah, around my midsection, especially, like, it's totally changed. And I just sent Afton a message the other day that, it kind of starts to slow down. Like, there's the drastic weight loss and then it starts to slow down a bit. But I can just feel like the difference in like my love handles and stuff now. Like, the more stubborn type places are like starting to change.
That's awesome. And that's what I think for women, that's what we want. Like, it doesn't really matter. Nobody knows what I weigh. It doesn't say it across my chest, but it definitely, like, how big around am I? What does my butt look like in my jeans? What, when I put on my knee-high boots,
it looks great.
Thank you, baby. I remember there were times where I'd put on my knee-high boots and I'd go to zip them and they were too tight to zip.
Yeah.
It's when you start to lose some of that fat and you can see the muscle tone.
Yeah.
That's the biggest difference between tracking macros and getting enough protein in versus going on an Optavia or an Isogenics or some sort of like fad diet where you're going to lose a lot of that muscle tone alongside that.
Yeah, I would definitely say that this is the most like fit I've been probably ever. But it's not the skinny, like smallest amount of weight I've ever been. And I'm fine with that because I'd rather have muscle. Because I feel like I look better than I did when I was, 120 pounds. So.
And honestly, in your before and afters, it shows, Jessie. It shows. Jessie, I want to ask you. I want to pull a couple little things out of you, if that's okay.
Sure.
So, postpartum isn't easy for any mother. I mean, whether it's baby number 1 or baby number 2, you're acclimating to something. And if it's baby number 2, you're going back into the sleepless nights, the things like that, all that stuff. But for most people, when it comes to them finally going, enough is enough, I'm ready to work with a professional, it's not the number on the scale always. Because that number on the scale is reflective of other things that they're not getting in their life, other things that they can't do, other things that they can't pursue, or feelings that they don't want to feel anymore. If you can, think back to, do you remember what those things were for you?
Yeah, I think really it was last year. I went to Taylor Swift and I had a great time. But like looking at those pictures from Taylor Swift, I was so uncomfortable in my skin at that time. And I hated that. And after that, I was like, I can't keep doing this anymore. I want to make a change. So I think that was the time.
Yeah. And so now fast forward, oh my gosh, how many months? 7, 8, 9 months? Did I do that math right? 9 months.
That's all right.
Afton, don't judge me. Miss Math over there. Now, fast forward 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the biggest thing that you've gained from working with Nutrition Builds Strength that is not a number on the scale, that is not the waist in your inches? What's something non-tangible that you've gained over these last 9 months?
My confidence back 100%. And also, I'm actually like a runner now. Like I'm running faster than I ever did, even when I was in college. So that's awesome.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Okay. The last question. If anybody, you're talking to Jessie out there, there are people out there, they're like, I don't know, like, should I do this? Should I not do this? Tell everybody what you would say to that. Like, should I sign up for a consultation call? Should I even pursue this?
1,000%. I mean, and it's not even about like having time to do it yourself. It's that like, I at least don't have the emotional like space to like do all this myself. So it made it like possible for me to do it, to do what I've done. So yeah, I would definitely 100% recommend.
All right. One last question. One last question.
Yeah.
When you filled out the application,
Mm-hmm.
and then you scheduled the strategy call.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure I did your strategy call, right?
Yeah, you did.
I'm pretty sure I did your strategy call.
It was supposed to be Jennifer, but she was sick.
Oh.
Usually I take a lot of her strategy calls. I'm just kidding.
That's not true.
No, I know. When you filled out the application, you filled out the strategy call. Were you a little nervous?
Yes.
Were you more nervous the day that came and you got the confirmation that you had your strategy call in an hour?
Yeah.
And once you got on the strategy call, was it as scary as you thought it was?
No.
And once you were done, did you still feel scared? Or did you feel like you're like, okay.
I felt good about it. Yeah. Right.
Because we say it all the time. You're not just a number. We treat our members like their family. Maybe we don't get to talk to our members. You know, Jessie, I haven't talked to you since you signed up, at least in this capacity.
Right.
But if I asked you, Jessie, do you feel like you could have messaged me on Messenger literally at any time during your program and asked me a question? Would you have said yes?
Yes.
Right. Exactly. And I get that it's scary. Jennifer gets that it's scary. Having to talk to a stranger and saying, I want to lose weight is not saying I want to lose weight. It's saying I'm uncomfortable. I'm in pain. I'm sad. I'm depressed. I'm unhealthy. I'm. It's all these things. Mm-hmm. But it's not like these are things that we don't resonate with, that we don't understand, because Jessie is not the Jessie that's here today when we first talked, not by any means. And to go from Jessie, who was scared, who was nervous, who was ready to throw clothes away, who was probably sleep deprived, who was at the Taylor Swift concert and was like, I have fun, but this doesn't feel good. Mm-hmm. To Jessie now, who's going, oh no, I run. I'm wearing things I've never worn before. I can eat a chicken nugget, not sweat it. I can go out to eat and it's fine. That is not the same Jessie by any means. But Jessie trusted the process, and Jessie was brave, and Jessie knew that if she can do the one thing that most moms don't do, put it in somebody else's hands. To deal with all the discomfort of what you're going through because of your weight gain, feel like you also have to know everything and you have to do this on your own. Yeah. Because you know that's where that's going to get you? Right back to where you started, of course. Because you don't have the bandwidth, and you're not supposed to have the bandwidth. You're supposed to turn that over to somebody else, and somebody like Afton, Luciana, so that they can take over for you. Myself, Jennifer, so we can support you. Dawn, so she can make sure you're doing okay. Somebody like Jessie, who's been through it, who's done it, who's done the things, who's now be on her fourth phase. Yeah, finishing 3. She's been through it. She knows what it's like in the NBS community. That's what it's there for. Give Jessie, give thumbs up, drop hearts in the comments, tag her. I'm going to post her before and afters in the comments really quick, because it's honestly, I saw Jessie's original before and afters. They're actually on our application page, and her original before and afters are incredible to say the least. Afton actually messaged me this morning, was like, hey, Jessie has new before and afters, go pull up the new ones. And I pulled them up and my mind was just exploded to the point where I was like, no, I want a start date, the midpoint, and now. And it's truly, you can see exactly what she's gone through. And right now she's at the tail end of her deficit. And now the goal is she's going to increase her caloric intake, which she's already once done before, so that she can maintain the way she is, but eat more food. And at the end of the day, let's be honest, all of us want to eat more. So
More
Jessie,
nuggets.
thank you so much.
More chicken nuggets. Bye, thanks.
Nutrition Bowl Strength. We'll see you next week.